My fantasy book, Madeline, A Witch in Time, is about a woman who has to travel back in time to heal the witch wound before it plays out again in her current lifetime. And she has to figure out who in her past life was a persecutor and who was actually a friend, and figure out who those people are in her current lifetime before all of this plays out. So she's looking around, she's like, is this person a friend or foe? Did they betray me? Will they betray me? Are they actually, on my side? And she has to figure all of this out. And so I wanted to speak a bit more about the witch wound, because what is this wound? So this is a wound oftentimes found in spiritually gifted people, and it can be passed down through the ancestral line, or it could be because the person themselves was persecuted in a past life for being a witch. And keep in mind with these sort of spiritual gifts, they tend to come through the ancestral line, and they have found that with something like psychic abilities, there is actually a genetic component to it, so a gene to it, which makes a lot of sense, because usually when you meet people who are healers or seers, they come from a line of people who have those gifts or other spiritual gifts. So it makes sense if there's a genetic aspect to it that's being passed down. Because of that, though, if you are from a spiritually gifted line, it's highly, highly likely that you had at least one, if not more than one person in your ancestral line who was persecuted for having these gifts. So you most likely have this wounding, and you would know if you have this wounding because maybe you struggle with being visible, and especially being visible with your spiritual gifts. So stepping out into the world and letting everyone know that, you can see spirits or you're psychic. You might feel like you always have to hide that. You would also maybe struggle with stepping and being fully in your power. You might struggle with trusting your intuition, or always have this feeling of like, can I trust these people around me, because you were betrayed in your past life, or you carry that betrayal from your ancestors because they were betrayed, by people. Like, some of these people were their friends, or things like that ended up persecuting them. And so there's that heavy betrayal energy. Another big one, I think, with people with the witch wound is around money, because you go back, a lot of these witches were herbalists or midwives, so they were these sort of financially independent women, entrepreneurs, at a time when that not only didn't really exist, but it also was not celebrated, and more so was ostracized and then persecuted. So you might really struggle to get your business off the ground, especially if it involves your spiritual gifts. And you might struggle around money, because if you or your ancestors had money because of all this before, and then they were persecuted for it. And a lot of these women also had land and stuff like that. So they had wealth at a time when women didn't really have wealth. And so that could be a really big issue as a result of this wounding. So if you want to read a book that is all about a woman healing this, you can check out my book on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited. And thank you guys so much for all the support. I really appreciate it.